Hello and welcome to the Bro Chat for the People podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by a wanted ad. Looking to pet a sheep. I recently discovered what mutton busting is. Basically, it's like bull riding, but they're 7-year-olds trying to hold on to a bucking sheep. I, however, am 22 years old, I am a 22-year-old, 130-pound woman, and would probably break a sheep's back, and I'm too afraid to go bull riding. I do something strange every New Year, and this year, I want to sit on a sheep. I am disappointed that I missed out on mutton busting as a child, but I love animals, and sheep are awesome. If anyone in Colorado owns a sheep that wouldn't bite me for petting it, I would love to just take a picture of me pretending to be sitting on its back. I swear to you, it's only that. I will literally pay you to let me take a picture pretending to be mutton busting on your pet sheep. This is my New Year's resolution, and I plan to fulfill it, because for some reason I think pretending to be riding a sheep is awesome. Email me if you can offer me such happiness to fulfill this random dream. Alright, let's go!
Did I make money or was I proud? Did I play my songs too loud? Did I leave my life to chance, or did I make you fucking dance? Alright.
We are back, gentlemen and ladies, with a new edition of the Bro Chat for the People podcast. We are back on elections today, Tom, aren't we?
We are indeed, and I'm sorry for all those people who had to wait so long for this podcast.
Yeah, it's true. Before we get started, Tom, I've just got one question. Would you ever... Well, first, I've got two questions. Okay. So she wants a picture of her pretending to be riding a sheep. Wouldn't she actually be riding the sheep if there was a picture being taken of her on its back? You don't have to be moving not to be riding it, right?
I don't know. I feel like riding would entail like taking her legs off the ground. So you know how like little kids you can like put your legs around and pretend to be riding them, even though you can't actually put your weight on them because they want to be a horsey or something.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know. I thought it was much more. It was kind of a risque ad.
Yeah, some innuendo there. Anyway. The other question is, would you ever dream of naming your child Richard these days?
Never.
Because I find it blows my mind that that parents today still are naming their children Richard. And they say, it's like they're sitting together one day and they say, you know what, honey? I really like the name Dick. What? And there are some great Richards I know out there. Shout out to especially number one, Tricky Dick Jacobs. But really, like, why are parents still doing this to their children? I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it should be a name that's just crossed off the list because it's got this nickname, like Adolf. Like that, you can't just name your kids Adolf. You shouldn't name them Richard either. These
days, it's probably worse to name your kid Richard.
Like imagine that poor child.
Through middle school, through elementary school, middle school, junior high, high school. Ugh. And then in college, you're finally at the age where you're like, you can embrace it. Or
you can just be Richard. Or Rich.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, up to that point, no one, like, and college kids might not think of it until they're drunk.
Hey, your nickname's Dick! Hey, what's up, Dick? Oh, guys, isn't that funny? But anyway, speaking of dicks, we've got a big night for diminutive Dick Donald here.
That's a good name for him. Where'd you come up with that?
I was looking for synonyms of small or little that started with D, so I got the alliteration. So we got a diminutive Dick Donald.
Yep. As funny as it is to laugh at that nickname, it's not funny to see these results.
Yeah, it's pretty heart-wrenching, actually.
We'll go through the exact results shortly. I'm sure most of the people will know the results, but he has solidly won 3 states: Florida, Illinois, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Obviously, Florida was by a massive margin.
Massive. margin.
He had, last time I looked, I mean, it's probably like 98% in or something last time I looked, so it's not going to change much, but it was about Trump 43, Rubio 27.
I think actually the most recent one I saw was Trump 45.5 and Rubio 27.
Whatever. Anyway,
huge victory for Trump, regardless.
But he didn't win Ohio, which is nice. But at the same time, like, if he hadn't won Ohio, the only reason he didn't win Ohio is because Kasich is in. Mm-hmm. And if you had taken those Kasich votes and given them to Cruz, plus his, votes in Ohio, it probably would have been good. And I mean, that's really what we're going to talk about. Because,
yeah. Here's the thing, guys. Ladies and gentlemen of the Bro Chat. I would like to address you for a moment. Well, not really address. This is a conversation. I just more posing the theory and the reasoning and whatever else there is behind this. It sounds good on paper, obviously. Tom and I, when we first heard it, we liked the idea. Yes, Rubio, keep Trump from winning Florida. Back Rubio. Yes, keep Trump from winning Ohio. Back Kasich. But here's the problem, and we're seeing this now. It completely backfired. Because not only did Trump dominate Rubio in Florida, he won North Carolina. He won, or he's probably going to win Missouri at this point.
Virtual tie if he didn't win.
Virtual tie if he didn't. And then he won, what else did he win today?
Illinois.
That's it. Illinois. So he took all those delegates, it's proportional, but he still took the majority of the delegates out of North Carolina and Illinois. And we're looking at these numbers here. A little bit frustrated, because if Rubio, who, again, lost in Florida by almost 20 percentage points, Trump almost doubled his vote. It was disgusting. It was a disgusting, bloody defeat.
True. I know what do you think is the percentage of Rubio voters that would go to Cruz? Like 75%?
I think a lot of them may go to Kasich, because Kasich's still in too. But
like a lot of them. I mean, I'm saying, I'm not sure. What percentage goes to Cruz? You'd think it would be a large percentage, just from the people that we know that support Rubio would switch to Cruz. They would never go to Kasich, because Kasich's the John McCain of this election.
Yeah,
willing to reach over
John McCain still won't go away. After all these years,
I mean, he's so willing to reach over to the left side of the aisle that he's practically in the left side of the aisle.
Yeah, pretty much at this point.
And that's basically what made McCain. So, I think 75% is reasonable. I mean, it could
reasonable.
Be honestly, it could be more.
It's reasonable. And so basically, what we're saying is, so if we're looking at North Carolina first.
North Carolina has Trump at 40%, Cruz at 36%, difference of 4. Mm-hmm. Rubio 8%.
So we'll say conservatively,
70.
Cruz takes none of the Rubio. We're assuming none of the Rubio supporters, because they hate Donald Trump. They're not going to go over to Trump.
I wouldn't say none, but
a very small percentage.
They would at least split with Kasich to 25%.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say conservatively, 5.5 of that percent goes to Cruz. He wins.
Yeah.
6% goes to Cruz. He wins. Now, if we go over to Illinois, which is a little bit different because Kasich got almost 20% of the vote in Illinois. But if Kasich and Cruz are not in,
even with Trump and Cruz, Trump's 42%.
Cruz updated? No, they're not, because just outside it was 39-29 Trump over Cruz.
Okay.
He keeps slightly low, decreasing the gap in Illinois.
It's only a 7% difference.
Okay.
And Rubio has 10% of the vote.
Shit!
No, it still follows. Trump is 42, Cruz is 35,
yeah,
and Rubio's 10. So again, 75%. Cruz wins Illinois.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we go to Missouri.
Well, obviously.
Cruz is down 0.3 points. It hasn't been called.
Virtual tie. It might have been called since we started the podcast. Yeah. Who knows? Rubio got 6%, though, which would easily put him over the top. So even if here's the other
still
thing,
wins Florida.
Ready for this one?
Yes, sir.
Trump at 43% or 44, 45%. Rubio 27, Cruz 17. Suddenly, that's a lot closer race.
It's a much closer race.
If Cruz got all of Rubio's, he would be in a tie.
Yeah, and then Kasich got however many percentage points. But whatever.
No one cares about Kasich, and no one wants to talk about Kasich because, honestly, I don't understand his. I do understand his reasoning.
Yeah,
he is the moderate.
I'm not.
He is the John McCain, and he thinks that going to this election, going to the contested convention, because it was just reported that he had hired experts on contested conventions.
Oh, Kasich's going to the convention. We know that.
Yeah.
I actually do, for once, have an insider source here. Kasich's going to a close
but it's
acquaintance.
It's literally mathematically impossible for him to get to the spot. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could technically take the lead, but he could never get the amount of delegates.
What he's trying to do is he's trying to stay and get maybe pick up a few more delegates while he's in to make the road at a contested convention a little bit easier to get the number of delegates required. And being now the de facto establishment guy at a establishment-controlled convention, he's got a chance.
And he does indeed, and I hate it. Like, really? When you were sitting there watching those 17 guys up there, or 12 one debate and 5 the other, or whatever it was, when there were 17 people, and you looked at Kasich, you probably just like me, you just laughed, and you're like, oh, this guy just needs to get out of the race. Just get out. Like, you're sitting here like one of many governors on stage, of in the single digits, and he just decided. I don't even know if it was him that decided. I don't understand what's going through his head. Is he far more sinister than we think?
It's possible. It's possible. But I would also like to add that the guy knows how to run a campaign. He does. He's two-term governor. He took out the incumbent governor in 2010, won his re-election by 31 points. He served 18 years in Congress. The guy knows how to run a campaign. And for somebody who had as little name recognition as he had, his strategy was pretty on point for this pretty much. I mean, it looks great now. I don't know. I mean, but he did well in Michigan. He did very well in New Hampshire. He finished second place, and he just focused on a few states that were able to keep him going just enough till Ohio, and then he wins Ohio. I think it's a fair strategy for somebody as unpopular in name recognition, at least, as Kasich. And it seems to be paying off.
True, but I mean, look
all the way to convention.
Look, he doesn't do well in any states he doesn't show up to and really campaign in.
Of course not.
So how do you see this going in the national election? If by some strange circumstances,
I think he's got a good chance if he does get the nomination to beat Hillary. Republicans are going to rally around him because we're going to be forced to.
I don't even know if they will.
He's going to take Democrats who aren't excited about Hillary over to his side because he's just that far in the middle.
Are you going to take time off work to go vote for Kasich?
No, I don't have to work.
Hopefully you have work by November.
I know, I'm kidding. I'll quit my job to vote for Kasich. Said no one ever. Anyway, oh my word. Yes, I will. And actually, first of all, you probably won't have to take time off work. The thing will be open. The polls will be open from 7 to 7.
Yeah, you have to get up.
So before or after. Look, I know most Republicans, especially in a race where we have two anti-establishment people. I truly believe Trump is fully embedded in the establishment, just from his past actions. But two people who are seen as anti-establishment taking up, 80, 90% of the vote in any given state. And then you've got Kasich and Rubio. So it's hard for me to say they will be excited about it, but it's also hard for me to say that Democrats are excited about Hillary at the same time.
Okay, so Rubio officially ended his campaign, which is, it's going to be really helpful for stopping Trump from getting all the delegates necessary.
Yes, it is.
And looking at what the election looks like going forward, it actually gives Cruz a decent chance. Not like he's a little bit of a long shot, but it's not anywhere out of the question.
Yeah.
It was I think they were saying something like Trump needed 60% of the remaining delegates, and Cruz needed like 69%. And that may seem like a lot considering like most of these states have been proportional, but 11 out of the 19 states are winner-take-all remaining. And just looking at them, it looks like states, Cruz will probably take 6 of those, and Trump will probably take 5. And then, so, I mean, like, just looking at it like that, it doesn't seem like any of them are gonna get to the delegate count. But at the same time, like, if anyone picks up momentum, if suddenly, I mean, like we said, 75% of Rubio supporters start trumping to Cruz, and then he starts putting up, 50s, numbers in the 50s, it can quickly turn, and he will just, rampage through the entire country and get the nomination. Hopefully that's what happens. Yeah. Likewise, it could easily happen that if they don't nearly go to Cruz as much as people thought they would, then Trump can wrap this up pretty darn fast.
Yeah.
I mean, if he keeps winning states at the same rate he's been winning states, then then no one else really stands a chance. But yeah, I just wanted to touch and apologize actually to the bro chatters and the listeners of this, because in a previous podcast, was it the most recent one about when I had the voting thing?
No, that was John DeMassey, right? That wasn't
Yeah. Okay, so what I said was that I was, that we support Cruz here on the bro chat for the people. And we want all of you guys to vote for Cruz, especially now that Rubio's gone and there's not really much argument. If there is, you guys can comment, and we will harass you.
We will respond.
With the power of the microphone. Well, we will call you out, but if you want that kind of thing, because you're into that...
This is my show, I can say what I
want! But I was kind of on board with the whole Trump for... a Trump. I hate that. Yeah, no, a vote for Kasich or Cruz is a vote for Trump. And I don't... last night I was just thinking about it, because obviously I voted in the Florida primary this morning, and I just couldn't do it because it didn't really make any sense to me. Now, like, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I just bought into just some campaign slogan. Like, it's good. This is actually the best thing that's come out of tonight. Even though Trump has won a lot of delegates now, he's a pretty substantial delegate lead. Rubio's now out of the race. It's a two-man race because Kasich is out. I mean, Kasich is mathematically eliminated, and he will be a thorn in Cruz's side. But I don't know. I want to apologize for leading anyone in the wrong direction. If you actually listened to me and voted for Rubio, if you wanted to vote for Cruz, I didn't have a chance to get on and the podcast last night. Tell you guys otherwise. Though I'm not sure that
maybe maybe we should start doing it every day. No, I just want to say now, especially, and I mean before too, because I've been on the Cruz train ever since Rand Paul dropped out. But I just want to say that, first I'd like to say that I'm not a libertarian necessarily. I'm libertarian economically, but foreign policy I'm more of a Reaganite. And I would like to say that if conservatism is your thing, if conservatism and conservative principles are what's dominating your choice in this election, then there is no other option than Ted Cruz. Especially for the millennials out there, I want to say this, because since we've been alive, this is the only Reagan conservative that we've had since we've been born or since we were very, very small children. And I just want to stress the importance of that fact. The establishment constantly calls on Reagan as some sort of shining example, which he was for actual conservatism, not for this version of conservatism that we're getting with the Republican establishment. And the choice is clear. It's just completely obvious to me, and it has been for a little while. So I'd just like to invite everyone else to get on board.
And to hate on Hillary. We actually listened to that speech that she made tonight.
In terms of laying out, let me say why Cruz is a Reaganite. Okay. Right. In terms of laying out a conservative message that's understandable and achievable, in terms of doctrinaire that's articulated, there's nobody closer. in the Republican Party right now that's even close to being president. Anyway, let's go back to Hillary.
But now that we're on it, we might as well go on it.
Right.
Here's I'll play devil's advocate for you a little bit. People call Cruz the liar.
Yeah, well, that was proven false already.
But I mean, it's still stuck. And
this is the
he
one
has
difference.
he has the charism for the issue, which I don't actually necessarily agree with.
Okay,
and
you're a great devil's advocate.
And his okay, he doesn't have any
Tom
charism.
is dabbed in embarrassment. Oh, you should have seen that. I wish this was a video.
He doesn't have any charism, and
Sure.
Shh, I'm being devil's advocate. So he's apparently he's a liar. He doesn't have any charism, and he has a very punchable face.
Well, that's true. The last one. All right. So basically, if I'm going to respond to these, am I going to respond to these?
Yeah.
All right.
Because these are the things when people have issues with him. They think
That's true.
they think he's a snake. They think he's like
That's true. I've heard that many times.
they think he's manipulating everybody.
Yes. Okay. First on the trusted liar bit. No. Are you kidding me? This man has a perfect record in the Senate. Everything he ran on, he has voted on. He has worked his entire life to protect conservative values. Go back to his Supreme Court record, as in pleading cases in front of the Supreme Court, appealing cases in front of the Supreme Court in Texas. He has one of the. Well, shoot. Now I'm getting angry. You're a good devil's advocate. No. He has been argued the most cases in Texas in front of the Supreme Court of pretty much any lawyer in Texas right now.
Pretty much, or any lawyer.
Pretty much. I think it's like top 5. I don't actually have I don't remember the exact number, but it's top 5. He's very high. And because, well, first of all, he's only 44 or something like that. Like, the man's young. He's not a liar. Then we bring up the Ben Carson issue. This was something, and this is something that I still hear, and it annoys the shit out of me, because it's not true. This was something that CNN reported, that Ben Carson was dropping out of the race. And so Cruz's communications director sent out a little tweet saying Carson's dropping out of the race. CNN reported it. And then because Trump and Rubio and Jeb, all at the time in Iowa, and Carson, all responded and were like, oh, I'm not dropping out of the race. Ted Cruz is a liar. None of them took into account the fact that Cruz didn't just make this up. CNN did. A supposedly respected news source in this country. What was the second one?
There was the charism.
Charism. This doesn't really matter as much to me because I'm first, like I was saying earlier, I'm basing my voting off of articulated conservative plans and that are easy for voters to understand and laid out clearly in his speeches and on his website and in the debates. But charism, I will admit, big difference between him and Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was an incredibly likable person. Incredibly likable person. People in the Republican Party loved Ronald Reagan. Not everyone loves Ted Cruz. But you know why that is? It's because he's attacking them all the time. They don't like him because he's attacking them. Because they're being shitbags, and he's not. I mean, come on. And plus, charism, I think he's fine. I think he's perfectly fine charismatically because he gets up in front of a mic and he actually speaks articulately and he sets out a plan and he sounds very intelligent and he is very intelligent. That's what I care about. I don't know about you listeners, but that's what I care about. Somebody who's smart and actually talks and actually tells the truth and actually wants to make this country great again. Unlike Donald Trump, who's just a despot. Anyway, the third point, he has a punchable face. He does have a punchable face. But I wouldn't punch him if I was there. But people have tried to punch Trump.
What about the he's a snake?
Well,
he's so intelligent that he's manipulating everybody.
This is a long-ass manipulation. The man's been doing this his entire life. He's been defending the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and people in America and conservatives in America ever since he was in college.
And frankly, if
this is a long-ass play.
If this is a long con to be elected, to be known as a conservative, even if he's like deep down inside he's a crazy liberal.
Yeah.
And he continues a long con throughout his presidency, then I will be completely fine with that.
Totally fine with that. And then he leaves
on
the
his
presidency
deathbed.
and he's on his deathbed. And he's like, I played you. I fooled you, American people. And we're all like, well, thanks. Our country's better because you were the best president we'd had since Reagan. Oh, my word. Why isn't this more clear? You know why this isn't more clear? Because since Reagan, the Republican Party has moved so far to the middle and even to the left. Or, obviously.
They moved so far left past
to the middle and even past it sometimes that we don't even know what a Reagan conservative is anymore. And people say, oh, Ronald Reagan wouldn't be able to win today. And you say, well, first you say, sure, maybe not. You know why? Because the Republican Party is a bunch of liberals and moderates. And then the other part is, Reagan was down by 20% in 1979 when he was running for president in the general election, or 1980, and he came back and won.
In a landslide.
In a landslide. It was a 40-point swing in his favor. It was crazy. It could still happen. It's up to you, grassroots listeners, and we are very grassroots.
Very, very grassroots.
All right, tirade over. I'm sorry for yelling so much.
So
I feel a little lightheaded.
Yeah, so we were just sitting around watching the results come in for the election, and we decided that we were going to sit through Hillary's speech.
Oh dear God! Ugh.
Danny kind of bailed on me halfway through, just texting people. I muted it. And I was like, if I'm going to listen to this, so are you.
And I said, oh no, yeah, I hear she's using a bunch of liberal buzzwords.
Actually, I said that.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I clearly wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so basically she sat up there, for all you didn't listen, and she talked about how she was going to, increase Social Security and make sure it's not privatized and, make sure that middle-class families have money and
you don't have to pay a dime for college.
Yep, and actually, it was an interesting point because it kind of occurred to me like it was kind of like a tickle on my brain, but actually Bill O'Reilly said it afterwards. He talked about how Hillary was. She was talking about how it was the most consequential election they've had in a long time because the world is in such a terrible, terrible place, and it's kind of like. And then out of the other side of her mouth, she's talking about all the great things that Obama's done, to make everything so great and happy and have all the health care and, all this nonsense going on. And it was kind of like, wait, why is this so important when, you guys have been, have the same ideas about everything.
And yet Obama's trying to distance himself from her.
I think Obama hates her.
I think Obama hates her too.
He was, I don't know. He just doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would forgive someone for running a negative campaign against him, considering what he did to Tom Brady after he didn't even show up to the White House.
Goodell Gate. Oh yes. There are three things that I can see. First, you just pointed out the negative campaigns. Obama's he's a very sensitive guy. He doesn't like it when people talk bad about him. So this is happening. Number two is her record as his Secretary of State, which is abysmal at best.
It has been one of his biggest weaknesses, even to the Democrats, is the dealings in the international community.
Yeah,
I mean,
his foreign policy has always been terrible. It was his big weakness in 2008 too.
And she's supposed to be the one who takes care of it, being Secretary of State. Yeah. They're still having issues with it.
And there's number three, which I don't know if it's been talked about yet, or if anyone's talking about it or anything. But the fact that Obama has been working so hard to move the Democratic Party away from the past Democratic Party of Bill Clinton, say. And he's not just going to work his ass off doing this for 8 years in the White House just to return the White House to another Clinton. He does not want that. He does not want Hillary Clinton. But that's a lot of Democrats. That's all they've got.
So will she be indicted?
It's very hard to indict a presidential candidate.
Not really.
Even
Not
if
like
you're Obama, because there still is a loyalty to the party. You've seen. I mean,
you mean it's hard? Like, it's a hard decision to make because they're so popular. It's not like hard, like
if you're the
regards
president
to the
of
law.
the United States. Well, sure, but let's be honest here in regards to the law. Who's in charge of the Department of Justice? President Obama is.
True.
And I know it's supposed to be. He appoints the head of the Department of Justice and all that, but it's supposed to be separate, just kind of like the Supreme Court is supposed to be separate from the voters and their influence.
Yeah.
But that's a joke. We all know it. I would think if Bernie was the nominee, then Hillary might actually be indicted.
I think it's the opposite. Actually, well, here's the issue. If there was somebody other than Bernie... No, actually, I'm not even... I just changed my mind halfway through that sentence.
Good.
Bernie is the extreme version of Obama. He is what Obama wishes he was. But, America wasn't ready for Bernie Sanders 8 years ago.
Which is what I'm talking about. He's been priming
He is now ready.
He doesn't want to...
He is now ready for... This country's Democratic Party is so ready for... Just declare themselves socialist. Communist. Let's just kill all the babies and euthanize all the old people and take all the rich people's money.
A lot of things I hear... a lot of things I hear from liberals that I know...
you associate with liberals?
I know a fair amount of them, yes. Especially on Facebook.
Don't touch me.
And a lot of them, many of them, don't like Hillary because they think she's not progressive enough. They don't think she's close to socialism enough. They think she's a neocon. Literally, this has come out of their mouths in conversations with me, and they say, no, I'm supporting Bernie because Hillary's a neocon. And you're like, what? No! John McCain is a neocon! Not Hillary! Or, not even John McCain. Jeb Bush is a neocon! What? John Kasich is a neocon! John McCain's a little bit too far to the left to even be considered a neocon, probably. But, man. Hillary Clinton is a neocon? It was something that I had never heard before until, several months ago, in the height of Bernie's popularity. And I just was blown away.
She's a truly despicable character, to say the least. And, I don't know how much there is to say about it. We're preaching to the choir here, for the most part. Unless some random person stumbles across this on YouTube. But, what makes her... I don't understand. It just... I can't comprehend how she's going to be the nominee. After everything that has happened. Really, this is the best person that the Democratic Party can put forward?
Well, that's why Democrats aren't even excited about her. They're like, wait, this is the best we've got.
And that's why so many Democrats have actually moved over to Trump. Because in reality, Trump is no different than Hillary Clinton.
True that.
I think I heard it from Cruz actually in an interview. And you may say, oh, well, Cruz is his opponent, of course you're going to say bad things about him, but he was basically like, look, everything that Trump says, he's like, oh, well, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama, they didn't make good deals for China. They don't make good deals with Congress for Mexico. They don't make good deals with Iran for the nuke program. They don't make good deals with Israel and Pakistan that can make it work. I'm gonna make good deals. Mm-hmm. So he's when he says that, there's literally no difference. He's just saying, I'm gonna do a better job at negotiating this. He's not talking about, making the government smaller. He's not talking about, the conservative ideals. He's not talking about being pro-life. He's not talking about, the Iran, just having no deal with Iran, because honestly they should, that's going to actually be a segment later today, because we hear it every once in a while. But let's just jump into it. what happened to that thing since we stopped caring about it?
Oh, shoot. How about let's talk about the Iran deal?
The Iran deal, exactly. Well, you may hear it every once in a while from, when Trump says, deals.
Trump goes
We're
on
going to
stage.
make great deals.
Trump goes on stage and says, oh, that Iran deal's bad. I'm going to do a better one. And you're like, wait, why? How? And he's like, it's going to be better, okay? Shut up, it's just going to be better. Like, how is anybody supporting this person? And you start crying inside.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly read the six pointers from an article that was written in early July of 2015 when all the Iran nuke deal was going on. Mm-hmm. These are the 6 things that you should know about the Iran deal, according to the Obama administration. It would curb Iran's nuclear programs.
Good.
Meh, kind of. Sure. That's what they say it's going to. It still allows.
It's not going to.
It still allows Iran to continue enrichment. This is something admitted.
Good.
We're going to let them have 10,000 centrifuges still going, to enrich uranium. The U.S. says the deal makes an Iranian nuclear bomb more difficult.
Oh, good.
If Iran doesn't comply, sanctions can return.
Oh my.
Good wording.
They can return. Wouldn't the proper word be may? Sanctions may return. Sanctions can. Well, we know. It's up to you, right, President Obama?
It sets up a comprehensive inspections regime. You know how well that's worked out for all the UN inspectors, and Congress has to approve the deal. Those are the 6 things that you needed to know about the Iran deal. And just briefly looking at those, Congress didn't have to approve the deal. Even though it was supposed to be technically a treaty, it was essentially it was an executive order.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that Congress, the Republican-controlled Congress or Senate did about it. They could have tried to essentially take control and demand that it's a treaty so that they had, voting rights, but they did not.
Yeah. Well, as they've done time and time again throughout this Obama presidency.
Of course, they've just folded like the cheap tents that they are.
How cheap, Tom? $10? $15? $40? What's a cheap tent these days?
I don't know what's a cheap tent. I feel like everything's a cheap tent.
Well, you just got to hit up Walmart and see what they've got.
But I mean, sanctions have not returned, and they've since received hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because the sanctions haven't returned.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the bomb more difficult. It hasn't made it impossible, as most people would have liked. But
what does that even mean? It's not like they go into detail. Why does it make the bomb more difficult? You're still letting them enrich uranium.
Yeah, I know. And so this is what's going on with it now.
Titanium. Just thought of Avatar. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
4 days ago, Iran was testing intercontinental missiles.
4 days ago?
4 days ago, Iran is testing intercontinental missiles.
So intercontinental meaning like Europe and Asia. Oh wait, they're kind of in Asia. Middle East is Asia, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Africa and Europe.
Africa, Europe, and they're Mideast. They can reach Asia. So.
Well, yeah.
And they're continuing.
So they're all the same continent, basically.
Yeah. And so basically, they are continuing to spout anti-American hate speech and declaring that they are going to destroy America and all of Western civilization. And this deal, which was supposed to kind of give Iran the freedoms, they were just being oppressed by the American government, and they just wanted to be their own sovereign country, and they didn't want us to interfere. And this was going to let them do that, but without giving them too much freedoms. They continue to have 10,000 centrifuges run constantly throughout the day, enriching uranium, and they still are developing missiles that I'm sure the first target's going to be Israel.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Trump won't take sides between Israel and Pakistan because he's a liberal.
Yeah, of course not.
So, the Iran nuke deal, it is falling to shambles nowadays.
Woo!
And
happy
maybe
about that because it's a terrible deal. Trump's right about that. I'll give him that.
No, that's true. But I'm not convinced he'll make a better one.
No, not at all. Not even close. I don't think he'll make any deal at all. It'll just remain the same.
Exactly.
He literally won't do anything unless it, is in his best interest, personally, and his brand.
Yeah.
Oh man, can you imagine all of Trump's, everything with Trump's name on it, and then he's the president, and then it's President Trump Hotel?
It sickens me. All right, Daniel. That's what happened to that thing since we stopped caring about it.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
And
well, this is fiery today, Tom. I like this.
You want to keep going?
A little emotion out of the two of us.
You want to keep going with the fieriness?
Sure, man.
Let's move to the positive spin zone.
Oh dear God, shit. All right, you want to go first?
I'll give it to you first. Yeah.
Let's do it.
This one's a pretty simple headline, though hard to see some silver lining in it. Kasich is staying in the race, still the convention.
Yeah. So.
What is the silver lining?
Well, the silver lining is... Okay, so first, he's not going to take many votes away from Cruz. And if Trump sticks around the 35-40%, which he probably won't, he'll take a little bit from Rubio. I think with Rubio dropping out, that also may send a lot of Kasich supporters over to Cruz because they now see, oh, it's not a four-man race anymore. And our guy obviously doesn't have a chance. Let's go with Cruz still. I think more votes are coming to Cruz because of Rubio, but that doesn't have anything to do with Kasich staying. Anyway, if it goes to the convention, and Cruz and Trump are not the nominee, and Kasich is the nominee, because he's a moderate and he'll have no trouble winning over the Republican establishment's hearts who run the convention, and Reince Priebus, that asshole. There are some good things to be taken from this. First, he's a two-term governor. He has executive experience. And he won in what was a blue state at the time and turned it red, Ohio. And now it's purple. He served in Congress, so he's also got legislative experience. He has a lot of private sector experience as well. This guy's been all over the board. He's got a lot of experience behind him in many different fields. He understands the military because while he was in Congress, he was a member of the Armed Services Committee. And so he's not going to be a guy who's going to gut the military just like President Obama has. And while I am not hugely in favor of a huge, vast 100% military, like 100% funded military all the time, that's like, we don't need to, first of all, we don't really need to raise the budget of the military. I mean, there's a lot of waste in the military, having been in the military and seen it all. But anyway, he's not gonna try to dismantle the military like systematically like President Obama has been trying. He is a governor of a swing state, which is a big deal. He would probably beat Hillary Clinton in Ohio in a general election. He also, and this is the biggest one for me, well, there's two. He has a balanced budget in Ohio. He balanced the budget in Ohio. He actually has experience. While not the biggest state, he actually has executive experience balancing a budget, which doesn't seem to happen anymore in the last 16 years. And then the last one is he, in Congress and as governor, he has a 100% pro-life record. 100%. He's never vetoed a bill that was anti-life, or excuse me, anti-choice, or anti-abortion, whatever it is. He's never vetoed a pro-abortion bill. How about that?
No.
He's never vetoed a pro-life bill. That's what I mean. He's never vetoed a pro-life bill. Okay, thank you. Jeez, why did I have so much trouble saying
so many
that?
negatives in there. Vetoing.
Anti-veto. Okay, so
he's never
vetoed.
That's two negatives already.
He has never vetoed
an
a pro-life bill.
Okay.
I know, I was trying to say he's never vetoed an anti-abortion bill, or an anti-choice bill, whatever you want to say, but...
I think that would work. Maybe that would.
It would work, but still. Anyway,
I would have to sit down and write that down.
In his 6 years as governor, he's never vetoed an anti-abortion... Wait.
Pro-life.
He's never vetoed a pro-life bill. And in Congress, he has a 100% pro-life voting record.
Yeah, not
bad. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Not a bad positive spin.
I think it's alright.
Yeah. I mean, did you just read off the Kasich talking points?
No, actually. I read them off and then took notes. And then read the notes that I made.
Ooh.
No, I mean, look up his record and everything. But anyway, whatever. Mine for you, Thomas. And this one, I mean, you can make it funny or something, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Save the dolphins. But, Obama, the Obama administration, and the White House reject Atlantic Ocean oil well, or oil drilling. No oil to be drilled in the Atlantic Ocean, or no new wells to be drilled in the Atlantic Ocean.
Do you know if this includes the Gulf?
The Gulf may still have new wells. The Gulf is not part of it. Well, it is part of it.
I mean, like, when you look at it on a map, it looks like it's part of it.
It is actually part of it. It's just but the Gulf. That's as in terms of oceans. But since there are only how many oceans, Tom?
4.
No. Yes. Indian, Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic. Okay, good.
Yes.
What about the Antarctic Ocean? I jest. All right. So 4 oceans, so yes, the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico fall into the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, I mean, the silver lining
but
of this...
But the Gulf is still open for drilling.
I mean, it...
Even though, that's the one that had a crisis.
The silver lining of this may be that the lobbyists for those big oil companies may be able now to put more pressure on Congress and the executives to be able to drill in previous areas that were they really weren't allowed to drill for other reasons, such as all those federal lands that are held in the western states that they're currently not allowed to drill on. So it may be able to... I mean, I know we're moving away from energy independence, which is bizarre, but you have... Ocean drilling is... It maybe it's just me, but it seems more dangerous, not only to the people that work on them
you
and
can't
stuff.
run away from an exploded rig. Yeah. Jump into the ocean and drown instead of burning alive.
but it also had that that whole BP oil spill, which is just it's just bad rap for the oil.
Oh yeah.
So there won't be any of those big issues. I mean, the biggest thing that you see is fracking's harming our water supply and killing our children. Whatever.
Have you guys seen the price of gas?
Yeah, well, the price of gas.
It doesn't have anything.
It doesn't have
anything.
anything.
I know that. I was just. Spinning.
But yeah, so it's cleaner, less dangerous, and maybe it allows the lobbyists to start drilling on federal land at some point ever, which would be nice.
Alaska would be cool.
Yeah. But we need a pipeline for that, and that will interrupt the
ecosystem,
the migration patterns of certain herds of deer.
The very fragile migration patterns of Canadian geese.
Oh my gosh!
All right, Daniel, that is the positive spin zone. What was the what was the little jingle we had for that?
The positive spin zone. Was that it?
I don't know.
Positive spin zone.
I don't know. We'll make it up as we go.
Positive.
Jeez, that was terrible. Anyway, Tom's take. Tom hates the Yankees. Brought to you by the Washington Bullets. All right, everybody, let's.
I got one last question for you, Daniel.
Yeah.
This was submitted by our by a listener.
Really?
Anonymous listener.
Anonymous.
Show yourself.
They would like to know a little bit more about us, the Bro Chatters.
Let's do it, dude. Let's do it. What do they want to know, Thomas? I'm ready and willing.
If you could have an endless supply of food, what would you get?
Oh shoot! Like one specific kind of food.
Yep.
Not a genre?
Nope. Endless supply, and that was all you could eat.
Red meat.
You just have red meat for the rest of your life.
That's the problem with food. Mixed together, it can make very wonderful and eclectic dishes. But when you only can pick one, it's gonna be the same. So you have to pick the same. Literally the same. What if I picked potatoes and I could get different forms of potatoes?
Yeah, sure. You could cook it differently.
I would get tired. So tired of that.
Potatoes?
That's why the Irish came here. Shout out to our Irish listeners, Emma and Maddie. Well, actually,
Emma
and Mary, and Emma's not even a listener. She just gets the summary from her boyfriend. Anyway, not that that's a bad thing, Emma, but you should start listening, even though we'll probably bore you to death. Let's see. Jeez, this is so hard. I would say I'm going to go with meat. It's a solid protein. It's very.
I mean, you can
nutritional.
pick a dish.
I can pick a dish?
Yeah, a dish.
Peanut chicken.
Peanut chicken.
Yeah, the one that you and I make?
Yeah.
Or you make and I learned how to make?
It's a good dish.
You've got your proteins, you've got your spices, you've got your little bit of peanut butter. You've got your grains and you could have your grains or your noodles. And what did the noodles fall under a grain?
Yeah.
So you've got your carbohydrates there. It's a very balanced dish.
No vegetables, really.
Well, you can throw some. You could throw into the chicken stir fry part. You could throw in some onions and maybe even if you wanted to some chopped up carrots, and it would still be good. Nothing green though. God forbid. Peanut butter chicken, the pseudo Thai dish.
Yep, that's a good dish. I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I'd never get tired of it.
What about you? I never get tired.
I think I'd go for a Publix chicken tender sub.
Ooh, wow.
Look,
if you guys out there, maybe to our more northern listeners, have never had a Publix chicken tender sub, you have not eaten good food. That thing is amazing. Although, even that... Well, it's a Publix chicken tender sub, though. So even if you can get the sub and you can throw whatever veggie you want on it. You've got your chicken tenders, you got your chicken, you got your bread. And even if you don't want the bread that day, just dump it out. And you've still got a full meal. They put 4 tenders in there and heaps of vegetables, man. That's a big-ass sandwich.
True that. All right. That's for you, Mr. Anonymous Listener.
Yeah.
And that wraps up the pod. And
all right. Wow, that went by quick.
It did go by quick.
Let us know if we should get more angry more often. I feel like this was a little bit of an angry podcast, for me at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I apologize for the yelling if you don't like it, but, you know.
At least he's not whispering, right, guys?
Too bad. This is an NPR, after all.
We model ourselves after Bill Simmons and Mark Levin. So we're going to have a little quiet, soothing. We got to have a little arguing and yelling. Anyways, guys, I just want to say we love you, Colby.
We love you, Colby.
Keep listening to us, Colby.
We'll see you Thursday, one of the 3 possible Colbys. And
we hope your work, school, or baby day
is that much more enjoyable.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.